Alright, this is Greg Rager, and today we're going to be looking at Nick performing some A-skips for us. A-skips are typically done in the sport of track and field for sprinters, jumpers, and hurdlers to practice their A position, their frontside mechanics. Okay, so just some background on Nick so we know what kind of experience he's coming from athletically. He did compete in track and field for 1 year, but for the majority of his life he was predominantly a basketball and baseball player. Okay, so that's important to note as we go into this analysis here. So we'll take a look at this in real time, regular speed. He's going to go down and back on the basketball court, and then we'll slow it down and take a look if he's going to reach some of these cues that we're going to be looking for. All right, so while Nick's going here, okay, what we're going to be looking for are his shoulders over his hips. Is his head neutral with eyes forward? Do his knees and ankles reach 90 degrees at the top of the movement? Does his thigh reach parallel to the floor? Does he keep his toe up in dorsiflexion? Does he put his feet down with force, and does he drive his elbow back while that opposite knee is up? All right, so we'll go ahead and slow this down and zoom in a little bit, and then take a look at this here. Okay, so the first thing I notice is the smallness of the angle of his knee. So meaning the angle of his knee needs to be greater out in front. Okay, he's sort of like tucking that heel under in his butt. So what we would like to do to practice this A position is get the angle here to about 90. Oops. Okay. So we'd like to see that lower leg, that shin, get out there to where that yellow line is at the front of the movement. Okay. And while he's in this position, while we have it paused, we can see his thigh is pretty close to parallel to the floor. He could do a little bit better job. It could get a little higher. And I think in that case, if he did that, that would help along with the knee angle here. But, so yeah, what we're looking at right now, we'd like to see that knee angle get a little greater. Okay. Let's continue watching here. Slow motion. Something I wanted to point out that I noticed in the original regular speed, yeah, right there. He looks down at the ground for some reason. Okay, I'm sure that was just because this is not something he practices. But something I say to my athletes all the time is you don't need to look down, the ground's not going anywhere. Okay, so if we throw off our posture, other things are going to get out of alignment. Okay, so that's something to remember here. We want to keep our head neutral and our eyes forward. Does he drive his elbow back? A little bit. Right there. That's not too bad. I mean, we could definitely get more out of it. We could get that elbow higher to the shoulder. They used to always teach us, keep your elbow fixed at 90 and swing from the shoulder. Now, a lot of coaches are saying that's not totally needed. But I definitely think in this situation he could get that elbow back farther because that's going to cause a reaction. So when the elbow goes to come forward, you're going to get more force there, causing the opposite leg to go out a little bit farther and lengthen that stride, okay, when he goes to sprint. So obviously we want to practice how we're going to compete here. Dorsiflexion. Is he keeping his toe up? Okay, let's slow it down even further here. Okay, that's sort of a neutral position. Okay, technically I guess that would be dorsiflexion. I'd like to see, obviously, that knee angle be greater and him really exaggerate keeping that toe up. Okay, normally in practice we try to exaggerate these positions so that when we go to put it all together in an actual sprint. We don't have to think about it because we've thought about it so many times in drills. But yeah, he could definitely keep, especially on this foot that's down on the ground, making ground contact here. Okay. That toe is down too much, and you might think, well, how am I going to make ground contact with my toes up? You want to keep your toe up and then pull through, striking with the ball of the foot. Okay, that is actually some mild toe picking, which we want to avoid. Best case scenario, you'll simply just run a little bit slower. Worst case scenario, you're going to end up with shin splints in that situation. Okay, so overall, a really good job by Nick, in my opinion, for someone that doesn't do this too often. Obviously, a really athletic kid, okay? So, yeah, just things we want to keep in mind on these A-skips. Keeping our shoulders over our hips, head in neutral position, eyes forward, reaching 90 degrees at the knee and the hip, thigh reaching parallel to the floor, keeping our toe up in dorsiflexion, and putting our feet down with force and driving our elbow back. All right, like I said, great job by Nick here, and thank you.